Hello everyone. I wanted to talk a little bit today about a change I made in photography. I think for the better. And maybe you're in the same boat I was in when I switched from digital to film. I mean, I have a digital camera, doing myself on it right now, and I've used all sorts of cameras in the past. A7R3, A7 II, 1DX Mark II, Nikon I've used as well. I've had all sorts of cameras in the past 5, 6, 7 years. And truly, I've only really been doing photography as a hobby. It then switched to video, and bam, here we are. So I recently came back from a trip to Rome, Italy, by the way, in case you wondered where Rome was. And on that trip, I shot purely on 120 film. I did that because if I'd brought my digital camera, I don't think I would have taken as many nice photographs. And not all of my photographs are nice. Trust me, I took a lot more than I've scanned. I've only scanned the ones I deemed to be pretty good. And even then, it's selective. And in the past, when I've gone to places, I've usually brought this Sony that I'm shooting on right now. And I did that for a few reasons. And I think that kind of directs this video into the whole realm of why I'm shooting film currently and not digital. And I think it might help some of you as well. And some of you might even have a very similar understanding or a similar thought process that I did. And I want to talk about my journey into film from digital. Like I said, I've shot absolutely loads of different types of digital cameras with loads of different benefits, built and designed for different purposes and requirements. Film, on the other hand, or maybe even older manual film only, it changes photography for you in a way that you won't understand until you do it. So when I took this camera and I wanted to go out and take a photograph of some seagulls that were just posing there, or this building, okay? You had to spend time looking at the scene, composing it in your mind first, figuring out what it is you wanted to capture, what it is you wanted to say about this scene. And then you had to go through a whole rigmarole of metering the zone. I use a phone app called LightMe, but plenty of other people use professional equipment to do this even faster, or slower if they take even more time. In a digital SLR or a mirrorless camera, you don't have to do any of that. You just let the camera do whatever it tells you it should do, or you pre-compose using the EVF viewfinder and you see exactly what you're going to get at the end of the day. But using film, and even if you wanted to cheat and use an automatic film camera like the Pentax, you still aren't going to see what you get until you finally get home. And to me, that was really exciting. Shooting on film in Rome allowed me to think only about the composition and the photo I was taking at the time. Some shots definitely didn't turn out the way I wanted to. For example, a lot of my black and white shots weren't as contrasty as I would have thought, and an EVF or a digital SLR camera could have shown me that. But would I have taken the photograph? A big part of me thinks that the reason I didn't enjoy digital photography and I moved to video was because there's less you can do with video. You were capturing what was there in the moment, and that was it. There wasn't a lot of expectation after the fact. But with digital photography, if you take a photograph and you don't like it, you're either tempted to change it quite a lot, because it's a raw file, you can change anything you like, or just not take it. Mirrorless cameras are a fantastic invention, but they allow us to see our composition and our final photograph before I think we're even ready to see it. And a lot of the times, I think that stopped me from even taking photographs. It made me not even think about the art of photography, and I think I genuinely was less skilled coming into shooting film than I thought. Some of these photographs I'm going to show you demonstrate that to me perfectly. They're all shot on film, and they all took time for me to compose, to check, to meter, and in my head, a lot of these photographs were, damn, that would make a great shot. But when I get them back and I scan them on my scanner, you realize actually not as appealing as I thought, but that's okay. Something that really stood out to me when shooting film compared to digital was how the better photographs of my entire trip in Rome were the ones taken of things that just inspired me in the moment, whether it was the way the light hit the buildings in this scene, or whether it was these people standing at the divide of a river. These photographs have been looked at online and people have said they really like them, and I do too. Compare these to the photographs I just showed you and there's a clear difference. being able to just be inspired by what I see with my eyes and then taking a photograph of what it is, rather than focusing on the perfect picture through a digital media, through a video, or through an EVF, allowed me to capture actual light. And at the end of the day, light is photography, and that's what we're here to capture, right? That's the whole point. I took the photograph anyway, and I have physical memories in a book of film of that time, of that place. If I had taken a digital photograph, if I'd even taken it in the first place, I either would have hundreds of very similar ones that I would never see again on my hard drive and eventually delete when I need more space, or I just wouldn't have been impressed by them anyway and I just deleted them. I'm not going to delete film. Even if I don't like it, that film goes into a book and I hold on to it for as long as I possibly can. Maybe one day it'll go to people somewhere else. Kids, perhaps. There are memories in film that don't get transposed onto digital cameras as easily, I think. And to me, that's a big driving factor again into shooting film from digital. Let's rewind just a second then and talk about this. This over here is a scanner. This entire desk area is just so I can scan, check my film over, and put it up. Okay, that's it. It's not there for editing, it's just there for capturing the film so I can later view it in real color on my monitors. That scanner cost a fair chunk of change, and unfortunately, if you want to scan your film at home, you're going to have to spend a fair chunk of change to do it properly. You have to do it properly, otherwise you will be instantly depressed by the outcomes of your film. If you don't know how to scan film, just let the lab do it where you are getting your film processed in the first place. There's no point spending an extra lens worth of cash just so you can scan it home. Now, I did it because I'm a fool. You don't have to be. I do really enjoy it. Scanning at home, lots of fun. Therapeutic. I sit here in front of the scanner, scanning my film, checking it over in between scans and seeing, you know what, I actually do really like that shot. Compared to the lifetime sat in front of Lightroom, I think you might agree with me that that's more enjoyable, more thoughtful, and more impactful on the medium of art and the processes in our brain make us enjoy the idea of going out again to capture more photographs. Now that we've talked about scanning, which is a universal thing every film photographer is going to have to get used to, let's talk about actual film photography. There's loads of film cameras on the market, absolutely loads. Like I said, I've got my Fuji here, I've got my Pentax, and up in the cupboard above me, I've even got a Nikon F5 that shoots 35mm film. Why is it in the cupboard up above me, you ask? Good question, William. It's because shooting film is not like shooting digital. This camera that I'm filming on right now is an APS-C cropped sensor. So that's 0.6 the size of a normal 35mm full frame sensor you might get on an A7R III or your Canons nowadays. And it shoots 24 megapixels. That's pretty darn good. At the top end of 35mm film, you're going to get about 24 megapixels worth of scanning space. Usually a little bit less than that, like 18. And I promise you, if you are thinking about getting into photography, shooting film, just skip 35mm unless you really want to use it just for sharing online. There is no art, there's no prints you're really going to be able to do with 35mm film nowadays. I just don't think that compared to digital cameras, your work is going to stand out. To me, that was a pretty big realization that I made, unfortunately a little bit late. However, making that realization meant that I did pick up a workhorse camera, and in a video coming at some future point, you'll see all the fantastic lenses I have for medium format. Medium format, though, being a much larger film format to 35mm or normal full-frame digital, you'll find it quite hard to find the same selection of lenses. They are out there in weird and wacky, wonderful ways. For example, there are telephoto lenses. They're 800mm and they weigh 5 kilograms each. But, you know, you're getting into shooting film. You're going to get used to carrying crap around. If you want my advice, the first film camera you probably should buy would be a medium format, fully mechanical camera like this. A lot of people might go for a RB65 or RB64 or an RB67. For me, is those things are also fantastic. I prefer these range finders for carrying around manual work because they're a lot lighter. Shooting a fully mechanical camera like this, a rangefinder, allows you to forget about the process of taking a photo and focus a bit more on just enjoying the moments that exist. You can also completely ignore everything I've been saying in this video, and if you want to shoot film, just go ahead and do it. You don't have to shoot medium format, you don't have to shoot 35mm. There's half frame, Pentax is making a new half frame camera. There's freaking spool reeled little 10mm things. I don't even understand what you'd see on that, but people shoot them because they are fun, engaging, mechanical things. There is a world for both digital and film. And I'm making this video mostly to talk about the reasons why I transitioned to shooting film from digital. Doesn't mean I'm going to not ever shoot digital again. I will work my way towards a medium format digital camera perhaps. But if you are like me and you lost interest in shooting, maybe you'll find interest again by switching up your medium. Now, maybe there are some of you out there that are interested in my thoughts on Rome. I'll just quickly say, it's a beautiful country. It's a beautiful place. Italy is fantastically warm and the food is amazing. Be careful where you walk, drivers don't care about you, and maybe try and go in between peak times. Maybe in the future, we'll talk a bit more about these cameras, the differences between them and why and when I use them. Maybe you just want a tutorial on why and when I use this, or why and how I use this. If you want any other videos on scanning, editing, things like that, they're all to come eventually. But for now, I'm just going to get back into enjoying photographing, enjoying the art of capturing memories. Now, I'm not trying to say I'm some sort of artist or gospel. Don't just listen to me. I'm just trying to give some sort of shared experience and shared advice, because I've been through a lot when it comes to photography and video. I've gone through all of the motions. I can probably answer a lot of your questions if you have any down below. I have shot for clients. I have done work for other people, including myself. You know, don't be afraid to ask me questions down below if you have any, especially if they're gnawing at your soul like they were at mine.